What is good? What is good? What is good? I am Damo, the political plug. This is the Chop Up Show. I'd like to thank y'all for joining us on a Thursday. I know last week y'all caught us on a Friday, but we here on the time when we supposed to be here. We glad that y'all was able to join us, and I'm especially happy because it's some very important dialogue that I feel like is necessary. Of course, that political dialogue, as y'all can see, because this is the political chop. Toya, how are you?
I'm smooth. Happy to be here. Happy to be rocking with y'all. Definitely always excited to have some really good conversation. It's a political type of night, and we here with the political plug. So I'm just ready to let the conversation unfold and evolve in the ways that I know it will. So shout out to y'all. Thank you for popping in.
Shout out to y'all. So, all right, I guess the best way to do it is to kind of get right into it. So, I think the one thing that me and Toya have been able to recognize is that y'all don't give a how many? We still a couple minutes in. So let me watch my language. You guys don't really care for very like specific technical like capital P politic dialogue, right? And that's understandable. I fell asleep in political science classes. You know what I'm saying? I get it. It was difficult. Public administration was one of the worst, right?
Yeah.
But I do think that it's always necessary just to stay up on game. You feel me? So even if a lot of this stuff don't require like some deep conversation, like it's certain things that both Toya and I agree that it's like, at least niggas should know this. At a bare minimum, this shit niggas should know. So that we decided that especially for this election season, at least 1 week out of the month, y'all gonna get a straight political chop just to make sure y'all up on game on what's necessary and what's important politically. Like we can't have Chop Nation not tapped in. You feel me? Only caught up on certain nonsense. But the one thing that we always gonna do is we're gonna make sure that we center the conversation around black political needs, desires, importance, focus, all those things, right, Toya?
Absolutely. Shout out to everybody coming in. Hood Therapy was good. Columbus was good. If y'all in here and y'all are tapped into this political conversation and political chop we about to have, go ahead and hit that thumbs up real quick because we are excited for you all's contributions. That's really a huge part about what makes these discussions move and flow in the ways that they're supposed to. So go ahead and hit that thumbs up real fast and go ahead and go to the chat. Be ready to talk back to us because we're about to jump into a lot of different conversations surrounding the political landscape here. And I'm going to go ahead and let the plug get it cracking.
Please do. All right, so the way we're going to start this out is we going to start by exposing Donald Trump as. I mean, he's kind of been exposed in terms of what Letitia James... What? Right, what Letitia James has been able to do and been able to get him right. You feel me? But we want to start tonight by really identifying that everybody that said that Trump could be president because he was a millionaire, he's a great businessman, he's a hustler, y'all hate on Trump because y'all broke, all of that other nonsense. It's something that need to be cleared up, right? And I want to shout out specifically Letitia James. Letitia James, Attorney General, black woman in New York. Again, this stuff don't require a lot of deep dialogue, but at least peep game why these people gonna try to lie to you. Trump's fraud has been found to be so obvious that his current $250 million fraud case coming out of the state of New York, before even, it's in day 3 of the trial. But understand the trial is only to determine how much that nigga gonna pay.
Yeah.
Because before the trial started,
we're not concerned about anything else. Yeah.
Anything else. There's nothing else of importance. Because before the trial started, recognize the judge already said, yo, not only does the evidence strongly support guilt, the arguments y'all making ain't even denying the fraud took place. So I'm gonna straight up say off break, fraud took place. I'm gonna rule a summary judgment on the question of fraud. It happened.
Can I also just say the reason why the judge is able to be so heavy-handed and direct in how he's assessing the situation is because one of the dummies on his legal team forgot to check a box to say that he wanted the jury of his peers to be kind of negotiating and making these decisions. Mm-hmm. And they try to play it like it's intentional on purpose or all a part of the master plan. But at the same time, Trump has now been complaining about the fact that he doesn't have a jury to be able to make these arguments too. So now you just got to deal. You know, you like putting judges on benches. You know what I'm saying? That's your shit. That's what you into. So here you go. Now you get an audience of one that you get to persuade. And so this has been some of my favorite parts of this thing and it's unraveling. But my bad. Jump back in
I
there.
mean, and these are the people that like we call the smart people, right? Like Trump's a business genius. He's a business mind. Nah, he told y'all he was committing fraud. The nigga came out and said, and this is the thing he was praised for, right? Like we praised him for his honesty. His honesty was, hey, I know shit's corrupt because I used the corrupt shit. That was his honesty.
That honestly.
And it wasn't nothing. It wasn't a lot more than that.
And I mean, I think also the plan. Yeah, clearly we've seen 1,000 times. Drain the swamp. Drain the swamp. The swamp is him.
Trump is the swamp.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but these are things we knew.
Now, especially why this is an important part of this election season, Donald Trump is the leading Republican candidate. He's probably going to be the candidate for president in 2024. But all of this talk about him being this great businessman, that shit done. Because as a part of this ruling, as a part of this summary judgment, a majority of his big name properties, a lot of things that he got a lot of money from, got to shut that shit down. Donald Trump can no longer own or operate a business in the state of New York.
Let me repeat. Say? Your money's no good here.
Your money is no, like literally, nah. Keep that. Like Donald Trump cannot own or operate a business in the state of New York. So no more genius businessman, at least in New York. At least in New York. And the reality of it is, when you get caught up with that type of fraud, even in one state, other states should look at that shit and be like, we don't want to do business with your ass either. We gonna see though.
Yeah, no, that license you was trying to get, I don't know. This business you trying to get, I'm not here for it. This building you trying to buy and purchase out, what y'all gonna be doing in there? Is this a residence? Because if it's not, my nigga, this is kind of looking like you trying to open up a business, and we're not here for that. We watch the news.
Right, Donald Trump is done. Okay, so all of that broke shaming you niggas been doing, Donald Trump is about as broke as they come, and used white privilege to get to where he at. The only way you able to get away with fraud like that is when your privilege is, you know what I'm saying, is up there. You got that complexion to get by that type of shit. What was you about to say, Toya?
Well, just that it can't be understated that, you know what I'm saying, even through all of this chaos and corruption, and we're going to get to the Sexy Reds of the world and other individuals who have perspectives similar, but a lot of people's take has been, you know, what you said, they hate him. He's a money man. He's a businessman. No matter what you say, I mean, he's still always about this. He got these checks. He got his hand on the purse strings. He had money pumping and flowing through the economy. Everything was cheaper. Everything was this. Everything was that. He was the man. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of the logic that people, you know, black, white, and indifferent rely on if they are still kind of supporting him, is that he still has some type of line of flight or some type of telos or, you know, meaningful trajectory on the economic end, even if, you know, he's a terrible, you know, president and a representation for what that office is supposed to look like, even if he's bad at international affairs and makes deals and relationships with all the wrong people and cuts off, you know what I'm saying? Even if he's bad at that, he a good money man, right? And we've seen, you know, especially in the face of these new, you know, discoveries, we've seen over the course of hip hop culture, rather, but also other cultures, right? I looked up in, you know, this is kind of a Wikipedia connection of a bunch of different places and sources that have kind of gotten into the genealogy of Trump and pop culture. But this particular page kind of gets into how many times he's been talked about and discussed or brought up or had to, in music in general. But hip hop has something particular or a particularly distinct role in edifying Donald Trump because of his money. It says the following. Many artists have name-checked Trump in more than one song. So this is the previous section talks about how many people have name-checked him in general, just how many hip-hop artists and how prolific he is, how much of a presence he is in that craft and that genre. But in a world where many artists have name-checked Trump in more than one song, pre-presidency, Rick Ross had the most Trump mentions, 9 songs between 2008 and 2015, and Nas running second, 7 songs between 96 and 2012. Other major Trump name-checkers include Migos, 6 songs between 2013 and 2016. So Trump was all up in they shit for 3 years. Right. Young Thug, 6 songs between 2013 and 2015. Lil Wayne, who we know, you know, Lil Wayne just love him some Donald Trump, and that's something, you know, I try to forget, but every I remember, and it pisses me off.
He like pardoned him and some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like Trump, like has done an actual favor for Wayne. So it's like, I mean,
discuss it. Not impressed. Moving right along. 5 songs between 2000 and 2012, and then Raekwon of Wu-Tang Clan, 5 songs between 95 and 2012. And so, of course, this article does acknowledge that a lot more of his portrayals have become more negative as he's been president and as he has, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of, his responses to Black Lives Matter, racial issues, just kind of his general disposition has turned people off. They've been more critical of him. And to be honest, and this is important in terms of hip hop culture, not Black hip hop culture, but hip hop culture in general, that Eminem was one of his fiercest, strongest, and earliest hip hop criticizers. And Eminem went really, really hard on Donald Trump. There was a whole kind of anti-Donald Trump. Yeah, it's a whole section on Wikipedia dedicated to how hard Eminem was going at Donald Trump and they little feud and they beef. It's also a fun fact here, because the white boys had to smoke for Donald Trump. You know who else he got into it with?
Who?
R.I.P. to that boy Mac Miller. You know what I'm saying? They had their own little beef. I think Mac Miller ended up with a song about Donald Trump. It was a negative song. Donald Trump was trying to get it taken down or, get something cease and desisted. But it was blowing up. So eventually he ended up in very Donald Trumpian ways, flipping up and supporting the song and how many views and likes and listens, because I think it started to blow up or some shit. So, we've not shied away from talking about Donald Trump and hip hop culture, and definitely now we know that all those artists were glorifying some fake shit. That nigga ain't no money. He wasn't making no money like that.
But and that's why I hate that. Like I be telling niggas, like, bro, niggas gotta stop like pocket shaming niggas and like pocket like really being on like that broke nigga mentality shit, bro. Cause like the niggas that y'all care about, the niggas that y'all rock with the most, be broke. Be broke. Absolutely. Don't really got it like that. Donald Trump is a complete fraud, and the only reason he was able to get away with the fraud he was able to get away with is because he was white. Y'all niggas can't benefit from that. Yeah. No matter how much money y'all probably, like, these rappers out here probably had more money than Donald Trump before he got all these super PACs. You know what I'm saying? So, still, again, this shit is done. Don't nobody want to hear about that about Trump money no more because he's clearly a fraud. What's up, Toya? Y'all make sure you hit that like button. I was about to say what's up to the chat. We got some people dropping in here. If you ain't already spoke, you can go ahead and do that. Use your manners on this Thursday night. Say what's up. But Miss Ma'am is in here. Tiffany in here. Watchcoff Gaming said, and this, but I don't know if you've seen the videos of the white dude who knows how to just like perfectly impersonate Eminem. But he's like, that's an awful hot coffee. But I can't even do it. It's good. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know, like it's a few white boys that tried that like kind of made fun of that shit. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. 10 out of 10 skits, comment. 10 out of 10 comments. So shout out to everybody in the comments saying what's up. Continue to drop a like, say what's good. We about to keep pushing through this political chop. We talk Trump. Let's go ahead and jump to the next thing. Okay, so the next thing is actually kind of like it's a little bittersweet. Like we have some good news, but then there's some underlying criticism that's real structural. So we don't want to use the criticism to take away from this the benefit of having not only another woman in the Senate, but a black woman and a queer black woman. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about diversity. You feel me? Because when you just talk about queer women in general, queer people in general in Congress, they are heavily underrepresented, at least publicly. Yeah. To be honest, it's to be fair, and so. With what happened recently, there was a passing of Dianne Feinstein. Like, and if anybody know anything about Dianne Feinstein or heard any news about Dianne Feinstein, like she been out of there. Like she kind of been absent from decision making.
She had shingles like last year, and that really took her out of the game.
And then the question becomes like, did she really have shingles?
I don't know. I mean, that is a convenient explanation for why she right. I forgot they do have an incentive to lie about things.
Especially like things like that, right? Yeah. So she was absent from a lot of things, a lot of committee meetings, conversations, votes, but she recently passed. So rest in peace to her family. Absolutely. We offer our condolences. But her replacement is, let me get that right, LaFonza Butler. She was chosen by Gavin Newsom to replace Dianne Feinstein with her passing. LaFonza Butler. Now, LaFonza Butler really has a lot of work done in her advocacy in the community. She's been involved in politics heavily. With a lot of, like, Obama rocked with her. You know what I mean? Kamala rocked with her. So she's had a lot of like very powerful relationships with her work in politics in the community. Like we said, it ain't been a lot of women, like ain't been a lot of black people, let alone black women in the Senate. And
she's only the third. She's only the third.
She's only the third. So to make sure that we able to actually name the other three, LaFonza Butler, Kamala, or the other two, LaFonza Butler, Kamala Harris of California, who is our current vice president, and Carol Mosley Braun from 1993 to 1999 served in the Senate, represented the state of Illinois. So LaFonza Butler makes history by becoming, again, not just the third black woman, but just like the seventh black person to be a senator, and actually maybe even one of two members of Congress who are openly queer. So
yes,
that's the good news. Toya has a beef, a criticism.
I do. Shout out to Donnell. Shout out to Isaiah in the building. What's up, everybody? We definitely got love for everybody. Definitely big love to y'all for popping in. Here's my beef. If y'all are, anything about me, y'all know I'm not into the optics, right? I'm not here for representational politics. I really don't give a shit about what you look like. I feel like that is a ruse that we've fallen for, just kind of far too long, where we are mystified by, soul sister in there, queer sister in there, and so you represent all of these things, but what you doing? And how you moving. Now, this is not to slight her, because we don't know. She hasn't had a chance to do anything. She doesn't have an extensive political background, but clearly was found to be qualified to do the job. And actually, I don't know a whole lot about her background.
She was picked by Gavin Newsom.
But handpicked by the governor of the state of California to go ahead and fulfill a very large role. Now that we got the accolades out of the way, this is no tea, no shade to her, but this is my criticism with Democrats, because Democrats are stupid and they strike again. They're dumb. And they are terrible at strategizing in ways that matter and make sense. And what irritates me about this is that they are doing it in the same way that they already did. We've lived through this before and didn't learn anything. When we look at Dianne Feinstein, we look at her age, we look at the current conversation surrounding age with a lot of different policymakers on every level of this system, from the Supreme Court to presidents to senators and representatives. We have been talking about age and health and what we do, and having the foresight.
Mitch McConnell comes to mind. I mean, the entire conversation about Joe Biden has been his age. And then even Donald Trump has been getting a lot of conversation about his Congress.
That's what I said. Across the board, top to bottom, every part of the system has been criticized for not approaching age with grace, right? It is not aging gracefully. As much as we would desire for the people, the system and the structure is not aging gracefully. And so the issue with that is, once again, just like what happened with Ruth Bader Ginsburg, where she was able to pass away in office. Now we have somebody who has passed away in office, who holds and fulfills a very particular and important role that has some limitations now because she has passed away in office. Now, they've been trying to get her to move out of her seat for like the last 2 years. Katie Porter, who was made famous, but with her whiteboard, we talked about her a few times on the show, because she's always able to break down kind of dense economic issues.
Broke down inflation wonderfully, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or really, what my bro would say, she know how to put the cookies where the kids can reach them. You know what I'm saying? To really make sure that the average American, the average voter, is tapped in to how things are moving and shaking. And so, she has a presence, has been on the scene, highly represented, positive exposure. There's another gentleman here from the state of California that I think was also trying to run for that spot, but she wouldn't turn it loose. Here's the problem. Right now that she's passed away, Governor Newsom has done the easy part in terms of replacing her on the level of the senator level, in terms of how California is represented. But Dianne Feinstein was on the Judicial Committee. So now, in a war where you have this Black Democrat queer woman clearly aligned with liberal politics, hailing from the state of California, which is everybody's with, right? Do you really think that they are going to agree to confirm or nominate her at all on that committee? Because them doing that means that she gets to influence the new slate of federal judges that get rolled out, let alone anything that can implicate what happens with the Supreme Court. So now Ruth Bader Ginsburg, whole Supreme Court justice, passes away, and they get to fill the courts that way. And now on a federal level, which has direct implications on the Supreme Court level, you have somebody who is a figurehead, but who was not taking on the responsibilities that Dianne Feinstein had, because you have to be nominated to a committee. You had to be accepted.
Right. Just because you take her
without
seat.
her having access to that committee, we lose. Democrats lose ground again. It is the same story over and over and over again. And it's so sad and so pitiful that it always seems like Republicans, in terms of how they move in their chess pieces, are a million miles ahead, and this could have been avoided. That's my issue.
You make a good point. You have a good argument. I do. I mean, because when you think about like this could have been something that's been resolved. If she would have just stepped down, let somebody else take that spot, and then we could have been already fighting that battle. I would have to argue, though, Toya, it's inconsequential. And
which part? Which part is inconsequential? I want to be precise about that, because I had it wrong.
The replacement of Dianne Feinstein and what it means for her to be replaced. And here's why. Democrats can't be trusted on the Judiciary Committee anyway. Dianne Feinstein was not one to make smart decisions, right? Specifically, I think back to right before the 2020 election, and I think maybe 2018 actually. As much as we knew about Trump appointees and how terrible they were at their job, the problem was that in order for Democrats to go back to their districts to campaign, Chuck Schumer, majority leader at the time, literally expedited 15 Trump appointed judges. You feel me? So it's the Democrats can't even be trusted to do the right shit on the Judiciary Committee. And Dianne Feinstein, as somebody who really kind of toed that line, Dianne Feinstein was was more problematic from a progressive standpoint. Was she a Democrat? But she more was a moderate, kind of toed the line there. That's why she was on the committee in the first place. But it's two parts to it. It's two parts. I
mean, help me, because all you've done, and keep in mind that second part, because this first part is only resubstantiated my idea that Democrats are just bad at strategizing. This just kind of goes as a case in point. The story I'm telling about why Democrats are bad at this. So,
because the thing is, I'm not gonna push back against the idea that Democrats are bad at it. I think more so. I think you're right about that, especially if you lean on the example of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. They really fucked that up.
Am I leaning on it, or is it just a really good example, the most recent example? Because again, we've been seeing Republican candidates, and we can talk about the lack of a red wave that we didn't get the last election, and this and that, but we've been watching them forward, everybody from their judges to their candidates to the local level leaders, Moms for Liberty, and the book bans, they getting everything they want. You know what I'm saying? And Democrats ain't getting shit. I mean, that's more, but that's.
That's because they control more of the local politics. But I think though, as much as I'm saying, you can't
horizontal and vertical implications of Republican power.
I feel you, but as much as I'm saying, on one hand, it's inconsequential because Democrats already suck at this. I can agree. Let's say that is a concession. I can say I agree with you on that. The second reason why it's inconsequential though is because these niggas is about to lose. Republicans are about to no longer be in control of who sits on these committees. So coming out of 2020, there is a very great chance that we looking at Hakeem Jeffries as majority speaker and Democrats dictating and running who's sitting on these committees in the first place. I mean, whether it's in the House or in the Senate. Now, I'm not necessarily sure if they're gonna end up losing a seat in the Senate, but with the way the GOP looking right now, there's a lot of confidence that they're not gonna have the control on committees that they've had going into 2020.
Okay, so you're saying that they don't make it worse, which is cool, but then that means we have to settle for them not making it better, which is the status quo, and that is the problem, and that's the criticism. We clearly and absolutely don't agree about just Republicans just losing all over the place and having just by great margins, just being completely irrelevant. Everybody from Hakeem Jeffries on down. We don't agree about that shit. You feel like Republicans are just gonna lose, and that confidence is just perplexing to me. But what I will say
talk about why.
is that
we're gonna talk about why.
I mean, we have over the last couple of shows. Make sure you check out the last conversation we had about whether or not Trump.
Where I was willing to make concessions. Where I was willing to say,
listen,
this is where Toya has some validity.
Blue, Blue said, I sense a smoke session, and you are correct. There is smoke in the room. This man can get this work on the question of who's about to be this next president, because I just don't understand why he refuses to believe that the Republicans won't do what they've done in the past already. But listen, I'm about to tell you why. Yeah. Atticus was good. Andrea was good. Thank you for the love on the Shiki. Definitely know, I'm gonna speak for the plug. He ain't offended by nothing. The fact that the messages got separated or whatever. We know it's love from you. So thank you for coming back. All love. Shout out to the boy Tyler was popping.
My boy Bird in the building.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like it's love to everybody popping in here. But I just it's poor strategizing, it's poor business making. And here's the other point that I want to stress to you, because you like it's inconsequential. It's inconsequential. My nigga, the Supreme Court is inconsequential. You saying the inability to influence the thing? Like, we had whole shows about the way the Supreme Court has been created, has been situated. Some of the conversations about the Supreme Court, for example, is adding extra seats to the Supreme Court. But how can we start to advance and push those agendas and do the type of court packing necessary that reverberates all the way up to the Supreme Court if we don't have the pieces in place? And I keep saying we, but I don't fuck with the niggas like that. So Democrats don't have the pieces in place to really push the needle.
You lean Democrat. You lean Democrat.
Play with me.
You lean Democrat.
Focus, okay? You have not been persuasive about the fact that this shit is inconclusive or inconsequential. My argument is that this is another example of Democrats dropping the ball. Shout out to and congratulations to Miss LaFonza Butler, is her last name?
LaFonza Butler, yes ma'am.
LaFonza Butler on her recent accomplishment, and rest in peace to Dianne Feinstein. But y'all niggas is wild, and it's kind of sad. So that's that on that for me. It's rough.
Okay. So that's that story. Shout out to LaFonza Butler. We're gonna see. We're gonna see what's gonna come of that. Third black woman to serve in the Senate. Big shit popping. Y'all know what it is. Now it's time to show Toya exactly why I have the confidence I have when it comes to what Republicans is gonna look like coming in 2024. If y'all have not already, hit the like button. Hit the like button. Say what's up in the chat. Let us know that y'all in here. Because Toya, I know y'all like her, but she about to get cooked right now. Because there's no way that she's going to be able to flip or turn or utilize anything I'm about to break down. If anybody has been paying attention to politics, even just a little bit, if you've been paying attention even just a little bit, it's two names that you done heard. Two names. Gaetz, McCarthy. Those are Republicans. And if you have been just a little bit aware of how politics, of the major stories that's going down, then you're not going to be surprised by this right here. Kevin McCarthy ousted from House speakership after Republican rebellion. What? Kevin McCarthy ousted. Now, first, this is unprecedented. We talking to y'all about the news you need to know. This is history in the making. This is going to be in kids' storybooks. Not storybooks, but history books. Social studies. Right? They're going to teach about this in political science.
They don't want no books about no niggas. So they going to find a way to write a book about this dumb shit and give it to a kid, because they don't want them to read the banned books that are about us. So, right. Yeah, this will be in the storybooks.
So to be clear, Kevin McCarthy, Speaker of the House. First of all, it took him 15 votes. That was already unprecedented. It took the man 15 votes to become Speaker of the House. And that's because there was a small sector of super MAGA Republicans that was led by this white man, creepy looking white man down in Florida. No surprise there. Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz, who actually is facing an ethics investigation because word on the street in Florida is this nigga was sending cash apps to 16-year-olds to kick it.
Yes, sir.
So...
Listen, and I know we started this off antagonistically, but everybody loves tea. Everybody loves tea. And I'm sorry, white on white violence is pleasant to me. It gives me the strength to carry on. And so I'm definitely on the side of this, like, baby, like it's juicy because
it's beautiful to watch.
What they want. Yes. It is really like they really be living their life like it's TV. Like, this is not fucking TV. What are you doing? Like, how are you? What is this? It be people on whole committees against stuff and then be caught doing the same thing. you against child trafficking and on this committee to do whatever, and you down the street from an elementary school with a 12-year-old in your vehicle. Like,
Man,
just
the white
weird shit.
man, the white man that told on him was the one that used to wrangle up the 16-year-olds.
My Lord. My Lord.
Like, you feel me? So Matt Gaetz been in Florida doing creepy shit, right? You know what I mean? But at the same time, he's been on this like, I'm super Donald Trump, I'm super Republican, and if y'all not willing to be super Republican with me, then I'm gonna fuck it all up. Now, bear with me, because we gotta understand what's been happening recently, and this matters to a lot of people that work in government. If you work for the federal government, what's been going on has been really important. We are recently under a 45-day resolution to extend the government budget. Before this 45-day resolution, right, we was facing a government shutdown. And that was because Republicans like Matt Gaetz, because they have such a slim lead in the House, that just a few Republicans control the entire influence of the Republican Party and whether or not they got enough votes to get something passed. Matt Gaetz and what's called the Freedom Caucus, they was doing a lot to be like, hey, we're willing to shut down this government because we don't fuck with Democrats.
Which is so wild, bro. Can I just say how crazy it is? We want to shut down the government because y'all, and I hope y'all know the implications of this. When they be throwing down, shut down, make sure you lean in to figure out what's at stake. Because in this particular instance, had they shut down the government Saturday night, people's SNAP and food stamps was not going to be working Monday morning.
The next day,
like the first of the month was October 1st, which was Sunday. The next business day, you know what I'm saying? Like, and them payments are supposed to show up even on weekends. That's 24-hour, 7 days a week system. You know what I'm saying? So people benefits literally about to be snatched from them. I'm just saying these are the same people out crying about the fact that they wasn't getting no nothing in the first place. So it was a lot at stake with that.
And these is also government employees. They not getting a paycheck, right? A part of that funding is paying government employees. But they passed some shit that said they would get paid though if it was a shutdown.
They still pause the student loans again. Y'all finna shut down the government, but y'all they was like we still want them student loans.
Oh yeah, let's get back to them loans. Let's get back to them loans. So like a government shutdown is not something to like be taken lightly. But these motherfuckers was willing to be like, because we don't like Democrats, if you make a deal with these Democrats, we not voting for this shit. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be problems for you, right? And that's what they did. They created problems for him. But Democrats came in and saved Kevin McCarthy's ass. But after the Democrats came in and saved Kevin McCarthy, then Matt Gaetz was like, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
It's a wrap. Because of the rules of the 118th Congress, one member of Congress had the ability to bring an entire vote of vacancy for the Speaker of the House. And Matt Gaetz, that sole member, that one nigga was like, I'm about to fuck all of this shit up. Watch. And he did. But this is where the Democrats is fucked up. Because the Democrats helped. Every Democrat voted to get Kevin McCarthy ass out of there. And only 8 Republicans.
Done.
Now, why is this matter?
No problem. We will happily show any of you niggas the door. And I mean, that's just so wild to me. Like, why you? These beefs is deep, bro.
And that's why I be telling folks like this, like politics, Democrat versus Republican, Republican versus Republican. That shit is the white on white violence par excellence.
Yeah, we love it.
It's worse than it's like it's really one of them things where you get to see how they treat each other like shit. And I used to always say what made Republicans strong from like 2010 to like up like probably like the last couple years is that they was always willing, regardless of how fucked up they was on or what type of bullshit they was on, they stuck together.
Thick as thieves,
we're not going to vote against you. You feel me? We're not gonna do things to harm or hurt other Republicans.
What?
That shit's done. So when you asking me, well, why are you so confident that Republicans gonna lose? Oh, the unity is not there. Not only is the like they talking about, they trying to get Matt Gaetz expelled. They like we don't even want him in the caucus. You feel me? Like and this undermines like any type of conservative enthusiasm because y'all just had the Speaker of the House. Y'all can't even keep him in office. Y'all can't even keep him in that position. How y'all supposed to be? Y'all can't protect President Trump. All of these committees and inquiries have been shams. Nothing has came from anything y'all have done. And Matt Gaetz is coming out saying if this happens, it ain't Democrats to blame, it's us. Come on.
Yeah. But here's the thing, Plug.
Okay.
Here's the thing.
Like,
here's how I just want to trouble some of that water you creating. Like this is a slam dunk. However, the strategery and coordination cannot be undersold. Out of your same mouth that you just made the statement that there's fracturing, thus there's instability within the Republican Party. You also said that it took that nigga 15 tries to get in. So that is a resilient party. They are making strategic decisions about who comes in and who goes out. When they want you, they want you. When they done with your ass, you chop liver. This is the reason why you have people like Lauren Boebert, who went to the damn theater, went to a public show, got her titties played with, fondled a man, and they like
it was hitting the vape, and she was hitting the
vape pen. That's the reason why she was caught. Is
at
because somebody had
Beetlejuice.
about her hitting the vape pen at a damn musical.
Woman. A pregnant woman.
Who was like, man, I don't want to.
This is the representative from Colorado.
And you would think pregnant people matter. You know what I'm saying? Like they do. She was forced to leave and escorted out, but they value pregnant women and lives that are unborn. But did not see Lauren Boebert's violation of that woman and that baby's rights is important enough to get her ass up out of there. Same thing with Marjorie Taylor Greene, who literally, I think she on some Trump shit. Like, I can stand in the middle of the street and shoot a nigga, and they not gonna get me up out of here because she just does what she wants.
She is Jewish.
Right? We have 1,000 bajillion examples of who's the man who ain't who he said he was and been pretending and playing games and shit. We talking about
you talking about I can't think of his name. I know you talking about though.
Because he got 12 of them. We don't know why he giving us if that's his real name. He out here.
It kinda is, kinda not. But George Santos is the name that he ran under, at least.
You're not finna tell me about no fracturing. If it was real fracturing, then they would be a party of morals and ethics and would see a lot of that bullshit and be like, you got to get up out of here. We don't stand for that. We have lines. We have boundaries. But they don't. So ain't no one moment. I'll let you finish. I just want to be clear about the fact that all of this breakdown, all of this meltdown and shit like that is smoke, mirrors, facade, gas, what we like to call political theater. That shit does not have material implications in what we dare to see in the 13 months to come. I don't see it. Please.
Are you aware of how many speakers have been vacated?
Yes. Would you like me to tell you the answer to that?
Yes.
Before the one this week, zero. None.
Goose eggs.
Snake eyes.
Goose eggs. Zero.
Yeah. No, snake eyes is ones, right? So yeah, nothing. Yeah, zero.
No, snake eyes is 2.
I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, I guess it is. Whatever.
Either way. Nigga. This is unprecedented. This is next level undermining from within the party. So you got Trump being found a fraud. He's the face of the party. You got that Speaker of the House who literally just got removed from his seat by Republicans, done for, and the minority leader in the Senate, Mitch McConnell, getting stuck. That's Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
When people ask him questions, that's Republican leadership. And you're telling me that people are looking at these leaders and these faces while Joe Biden is out here bragging about what he did for inflation, bragging about what he's like his fight for I'm still fighting for student loans, bragging about what he's done for Medicare and Medicaid, all of these different aspects, bragging about job numbers, bragging about the economy. All of these aspects, these positive things. It's like, yeah, is he old? Yeah, people saying he's old. Like, right, that's being recognized. He's old. We get it. But then when you look at the other side, if you're like, I'm a voter, well, okay, Joe Biden is kind of old, but there's all these things that's being highlighted. And then, who is these other people?
Bro, you like to downplay and minimize this age thing, and I'm going to let you have that, but keep going.
He was old when they elected him. Like, that's what I'm saying.
He's older now, nigga. We was a gamble. You got to remember, though, that niggas were willing to accept that because people wanted Donald Trump to get up out of there. Now it's not the same. And then shout out to Donnell. Donnell said, let's remember, we thought the Tea Party was going to end the Republican Party too, but they still ended up winning the House and the Senate after Obama's second term as well. Also, in addition to, and to conclude, my nigga, like, I don't understand why you keep taking, like, you play video games, right? You play video games? You play video games?
I do.
I know you do. So you know when you in the little fighting game and the little energy bar go down, my nigga, you can still be in the red, still fighting, still swinging. You got to go get your little energy from wherever, get a drink, pick up a weapon, do whatever you got to do. But to pretend that a couple of blows is really a done dilly is ridiculous. And also, I want to answer Blue's question: how long would it have taken for assistance to stop? Had it stopped, it'd have been immediate, right? It would have been the next day. The next day, it wouldn't have been no funding. Yeah, done. You would have tried to swipe that card at damn Walmart, at your local neighborhood Target, at your Kroger.
Donald Trump and the Tea Party was literally fast food. That nigga got one term out of the deal. So yes, and even with that majority, it was a house built on sand. It was always gonna crumble. They couldn't repeal, that same majority couldn't even repeal Obamacare. House, Senate, President, Supreme Court, y'all still can't get rid of Obama's key legislation.
You know what you're telling me though? You know what you're telling me, and that what you're telling me is that they losing battles but still winning wars, my boy.
No, they're not winning the war. They keep losing. Toya, they listen. They keep losing, right? And we about to transition to this. We about to transition to this next part. The last thing I'll say on this is, like, Donald Trump lost the presidency. He was the first one-term president in the last 20-something years. Okay? Everybody else, George Bush got 2. Let's remember, Donald Trump got 1. Right? Now, we're going into another election, and not only George has Bush Donald Trump...
because he started a war. Like, but there's context for it. Keep on.
Donald Trump is facing, not only has he just been found guilty of fraud, he was found guilty of being liable for sexual assault. So he's 0 for 2. He's 0 for 2 on particular decisions.
Sure.
Again, Mitch McConnell is
not okay.
When he get asked questions. When he get
I'm sorry.
When he get asked questions. And then and now the Speaker of the House has been vacated. So there is no definite leader for Republicans in the House of Representatives. There's no way that, like, I don't see people being inspired by that. And so but we gonna see.
The comments, Miss Ma'am and Washcloth, aka Zay, said, Miss Ma'am said, while this is a fracture, this only looks like a problem for them, the reasonable people. Once they can distract, cover up, or explain all this away, folks will be right back on board with the blind eye. And I agree. Yeah. Isaiah says it don't feel like they losing, Dom. You know what I'm saying? If I'm feeling like it's not. Come on, like, public perception, like, we know some shit, and we
so like losing the presidential election,
nations of it, but. Atticus said superficial L's maybe, but not real loss. So I really
losing the presidency, literally losing the House of Representatives,
losing the presidency but not losing relevance, losing the presidency but still being up 40 points by the next nigga that they offering. Come on, context is important. You're right. You was a bad man, but let's be for real, plug. Like, the writings is on the wall, fam. They not relinquishing power and moving around. It's just
the writing. They taking it from themselves, Toya. They're taking it when a Republican member is literally the one that's bringing the vote that vacated the House of the seat of Speaker of the House of Representatives for the first time in history.
History. Barack Obama was history. Donald Trump was history. All these people is history. Kamala Harris history. That shit changes. The pendulum will continue to rock and roll. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Is like, I'm underwhelmed and underimpressed. This is why I'm not the political Toya. Like, this is why I'm not like the political server. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a cute name that is connected to being mystified by any of this shit, because the pendulum swings one way and it swings right back. So all the things you're saying, I don't see them reverberating in the same ways over the next few months. So, really honestly, because I think we should move and talk a little bit more about, this Sexy Red angle into this whole Trump conversation, this whole presidential conversation, this whole conversation about who's gonna win. Because we got it all figured out. But all I'm saying is, the next month when we get to revisit this shit, you know what I'm saying? Of course, more things are gonna unfold, and I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna be ready to flame you again.
Matter of fact, when we do our day at Disneyland, it's gonna be on you.
Yeah,
it's gonna be on
let's talk about it.
you. It's gonna
Let's
be
talk
on
about
you.
it.
Anyway,
shout out to everybody who is tapped into the conversation so far. Hit that thumbs up.
Make sure y'all hit that like button. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Just show appreciation for me flaming the plug for about 20-30 minutes on some shit that he's supposed to really just. Y'all, you know what I mean? So just real quick. Shout out to Blue for holding me down. You know what I'm saying? I'm not fragile. I'm about all of that. I'm about all that action. I'm nobody's hoe. But
push drunk.
You know what I'm saying? He should take it easy because he's old and he's going to stress himself out. Y'all realize Plug is like 45, 46 years old. Thursday nights take a lot out of him.
That wisdom make you think that.
Like this is always blowing my mind.
Yeah.
It's always blowing my mind.
Listen. I know y'all love Toya, but she's getting cooked. That Matt Gaetz, the whole speaker down. Y'all can sit there and be like, "No, we believe Toya." That's cool.
Let's talk about
I would sit back and be like, "Yeah, we believe Toya. We hear you, Toya." But watch. I cannot wait until we able to come do our post-election episode. I'm just gonna sit there like
on the edge of my seat. On the edge of my seat.
But anywho, that time will come. That time will come. But let's transition to our discussion part where we can really in the less shallow.
I want to make a correction because Blue corrected me. He said not me. He talking about his boo sexy red, and I don't know. I got bigger questions about that decision making, which is why I can't.
Right. We better get into that. Blue pulled up for Sexy Red. Blue pulled up for Sexy Red. I see. It's all good.
And I thought I just expected so much more out of you, Blue. But we'll get there. We'll get there. I didn't mean to receive that for myself. I want to save all of that love for Sexy Red if that's what you got. But we're gonna get there in a second.
All right. So as a part of y'all know this election season conversation been going on for me and Toya for a while. And even like shout out to Conscious Lee. Conscious Lee sent me this video, and then and Toya had also seen this video. So of course we had to talk about it, right? For those of y'all who don't know, Sexy Red, the new hot thing out, involved in controversy, but kind of still being like really her authentic self. And the reason why Conscious sent it to me is because as much as he rocked with her, he was like, "Nah, this is where you gotta go."
Right. I'm gonna tell you some other shit that I can't. I don't know if it's a fact or fiction, but some other shit that had me being like, "I can't do it, bro." Like, it's crazy. But keep going.
Okay, so now this is somebody's video I took from TikTok. I'm not gonna lie. In his opinion, I really like. Even though I'm agreeing with his sentiment. I don't take the stance that the individual who kind of made this video take. I just want to take the Sexy Red part. So y'all take a listen to Sexy Red's opinion on the hood and Donald Trump, and we're gonna talk about it on the other side.
Mercy.
More people are gonna support Trump now in the hood or no?
Yeah, they support him in the hood. Cause at first I don't think people was with him like they thought he was racist, saying little shit and against women. But once he started getting black people out of jail and giving people their free money, oh baby, we love Trump. We need him back in office.
The bar is set so low for black people. He gave us some small stimulus checks and freed a few rich black rappers who ended up.
So that dude, what he's saying, I really don't necessarily agree with. But let's go back to what Sexy Red was saying. She said the hood rock with Donald Trump. The hood rocks with Donald Trump.
Sure.
To be clear, so let's play. I want to play again what she was saying. And so we can address those points, right?
Shout out to Sean. Shout out to Sean is the only new person in the room. What's good with you? Thank you for tapping in. And Zay, she gone, bro. Whatever you thought was there, it's not. It's not.
All right. So real quick, this is Sexy Red. This is Sexy Red's perspective on Donald Trump and the hood's relationship with Donald Trump. We got to talk about it.
I think more people are going to support Trump now in the hood or no?
Yeah, they support him in the hood. Because at first, I don't think people was with him like they thought he was racist, saying little shit.
Now, she point out At first, people didn't fuck with him because they thought he was racist.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we've addressed this in the past. This has been there. Donald Trump has been proven to be racist. When you call African countries shithole countries.
Verified. Went over in Puerto Rico and showed his ass.
When you start your election by calling Mexicans rapists and say some of them are good people, right? Like, so it's, you know, that was valid. You know what I'm saying? So, but Sexxy Red continue.
And, you know, against women. But once he started getting...
Oh, and she said she thought, like, people thought that he said stuff against women, which he did. He talked about grabbing women by the genitalia. He, like, literally...
Assaulted one, was proven and found guilty, then found to be in contempt of that decision because he continued to disparage her and slandered her. And so got slammed again. So
was found liable of sexual assault and liable for slander recently. So really, the man 0 for 3 in terms of decided cases. Donald Trump is 0 for 3. But let's hear why Sexxy Red said people rocked with Donald Trump.
Black people out of jail and giving people their free money. Oh, baby, we love Trump. We need him back in office.
The bar is...
So he got black people out of jail. He gave black people free money. Barack Obama got niggas out of jail. Nobody brings that up when they talk about Barack Obama. Nobody says, but he did let in his final term, probably like a month before he left office, he let a bunch of niggas out of jail. Like a bunch of niggas, but that never get brought up. Then she said the stimulus check and the free money. Republicans and Trump's caucus was against free money. But let's say that, okay, the facts don't matter that much. Donald Trump is a celebrity. Toya, do you agree with the statement that the hood fucks with Donald Trump?
I believe that there is a very ignorant but very strong-held disposition of people in the hood who are just like, he was racist to everybody, but he didn't really do nothing bad to me. All I know about that nigga is that he cut checks, he got niggas out of jail, and I like to add that, you know, for the politically astute hood nigga, that he had a plan for Black America. That he at least was trying to specifically do some things and move some shit around for Black Americans. And at the very least, because not everybody needs specific things that were done in the direction of Black people, they just feel like he had money flowing a little better. It wasn't as bad at the grocery store when you went. Wasn't as hard at the gas tank. It wasn't as hard. So they feel like, without having to get into all the intricate details about how the economy works or the ebbs and flows of it, that they knew during that time he was doing shit that didn't necessarily affect him. The shit that he was doing was clatter, wasn't nothing material to it. And they had a decent reality, you know, living within the limitations of structural violence, you know, neighborhoods, communities, all that at least
Blue
shit was a little bit
he did free Lil Wayne.
He did. We talked about that earlier. When we were shaming Lil Wayne, we're mentioning him so many times in all of his songs. And Damo rightly pointed out, I mean, yeah, if a nigga let you out of prison, you was going to be like, well, thank you, sir. To him as well. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. So sure.
So Toya, now, I wanted to make sure I was being fair, right?
I never answered the question. I never answered the question.
Apologies.
I never, like, in terms of, I kind of alluded to it in terms of this whole idea that the hood don't vote. Here's a couple criticisms I have with that thought process. Of course, clearly, obviously, the hood does not vote in the same number as other demographics, right? But to say that the hood don't vote means that you are also arguing that the hood ain't have nothing to do with the big push to get Donald Trump out of office, and that they just didn't show up and weren't a part of that and weren't interested in invested in, for those people who were against Donald Trump, were not invested in getting him the hell up out of there. And that is also to say that the hood didn't show up when it was time to get Barack Obama elected, as you pointed out, 2 times. So literally, niggas got pictures of both Barack Obama. I'm sorry?
I'm liking the preemptive argument.
Sure.
I'm enjoying it.
So niggas got pictures of Barack Obama in their office next to white Jesus. Or Black Jesus if you went through some type of meaningful transition in your spirituality, but still hold the faith. So, like, they've literally deified this individual, and it's because they showed up for him. They pulled up for him. And I will say that for the people who are gonna argue that glorification is not the same as voting, I'm sorry. To get a nigga voted twice, like some extra reinforcements had to show up and be a part of that job. You're not gonna convince me otherwise. I refuse to believe it. Secondly, if in political conversations we are going to talk about fringe voters, moderates on either side, independents, or radicals in any context of any of these conversations and how and what they might do, you gotta account for hood niggas. Like, I don't understand why they get to be the group that we opt out of talking about, exploring, or taking serious when it comes to the same vote that they get for free, just like everybody else get. Niggas don't have to pay for ballots. Now, voter disenfranchisement is real. Politics in the hood is real, so it's barriers to niggas getting to vote. But those same barriers to getting niggas to vote, you know who was dealing with shit like that?
Who?
We talked about it last time. We're going to hat tip her again. The Stacey Abramses of the world, and many people like her who are pulling from her playbook, is going to the nooks and crannies of the hood to get Tay-Tay, to get Raekwon, to get Keisha, to get Tasha and them, to make sure everybody's strapped in, ready to vote, and is actually showing up to the polls. Niggas is getting rise. Niggas is organizing. Not new news. The same way we have done historically over the last multiple decades that we've had any type of decent representation at the voting block. So it would be ridiculous to just be like, niggas ain't voting at all, because there are literal initiatives channeled into making sure these same black people you trying to forget about and that Columbus is just insisting on not existing, they pulling up. Thirdly, y'all underestimated, and this is what blows my mind. This is why the logic is fucked up for me, is because y'all underestimated, we underestimated, I'll implicate myself, poor rural white voters. And they did their big uneducated, stupid, uncivilized, don't know nothing, live out in bumfuck nowhere, and them niggas pulled up. So to just assume that black people are incapable, poor black people, hood black people are incapable of showing up in the same swaths of numbers and making their voice heard, even if it's for who you feel like might be the wrong candidate, is not enough of an explanation to just wish away the fact that these people are politically active, even if they don't know the hell about nobody else on their ballot or about none of the core intricate issues that should be swaying their ballot one way or another. The hood elected Donald Trump and Barack Obama. The hood are just as important as your moderates, your fringe voters, your radicals, your independents. The hood and their vote is just as valuable as we came to hold in prestige the ballots of poor white people, rural white Americans who show up and show out for their candidate. You get enough of them and enough niggas together, we have a problem.
So I love this. I love the propaganda, right? I love it. I mean, and this is good propaganda. When I call it propaganda, I'm not even saying it from the perspective of you misleading people. I think what you're saying is what you're saying is true, right? But if what you're saying is true, what Sexxy Red is saying, that's her name, right? Sexxy Red.
Sure.
What she's saying is a damn lie. If what you're saying is true, the hood don't fuck with Donald Trump. If you're saying because one, when you say the hood got Donald Trump elected, no the fuck it didn't. Not even close. Let's take a look at the data, okay?
Right. I didn't say the hood got Donald Trump elected. I said poor white people got Donald Trump elected, which we can now make analogous to poor black people who have experienced the Trump presidency and the economic benefits they reaped as a result of it. So make sure you respond to the version of the answer that the argument that I made.
Well, I think the important part is recognizing, regardless of how poor white people voted, right? That just don't matter. I mean, in terms of actually, no. Because
the one thing poor white people was identifying with Donald Trump about was the bag. They didn't see themselves with nobody else. They just wanted the economic freedom and prosperity. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's
the promises of prosperity that he was selling. So why would black people, I think, regardless of the implications of it, not align themselves with that same relationship to his politics?
Well, I think we got to be clear about like what it is that we're arguing, right? Like poor white people are expected to vote for whoever is the Republican face, right? So like they're written off. Like poor white people are written off. Yes, the rural voters, like unless it's some like a Democratic stronghold type rural voters, yeah. Like you really assume that white farmers are gonna, because again, it's a book, What's the Problem with Kansas, where they see that these rural voters always are going to vote for their cultural interests, regardless of what their economic benefit is. So even though Democratic policies support more of like those rural voters economically, they're gonna vote Republican because they tote that conservative line. Where we get it wrong when we talk about this fear of the amount of black people that are going to be voting for Donald Trump, that shit is foolish. The idea that because Donald Trump has become this much more of a celebrity and people have been paying attention, there is no trend of voting numbers anywhere that shows black people leaning towards or going towards Donald Trump. If we look at 2012, Obama's final term, we'll see that the numbers show.
Donald Trump president. Okay.
Hold on.
Okay. I'm
in 2012, black people voted for Obama at 97%. Now, we may look at that 97% and say, damn, that's high. And it is, because those numbers are higher than numbers prior, right? So if you look at 93%, you will say, oh, it was a drop-off. Yes, it was a drop-off, but they leveled out. So from 97% to 93% in 2016, black people were not convinced by Donald Trump. Less black people voted because it was a right. Okay, right. So then let's go to 2020. Was it a drop off? Yes, it was a drop off from 93, but it was still overwhelmingly 90% black people voted for Joe Biden. So if the hood is voting, that means that the hood is voting overwhelmingly Democrat. They're not being persuaded by anything that Donald Trump is on after experiencing a Trump presidency. But even if we look at that even more recent data, we can look at the 2022 midterms. What did the 2022 midterms look like?
You don't vote in midterm elections, so keep going.
Hold on, but it was a record-breaking midterm. How crazy is that? There was a record-breaking midterm in 2022, and what do we see here? 90% black people voted for Joe Biden in 2020. We saw an uptick in the 22 election. We get in the 2022 midterm, we get 93. With only 5% anywhere close to voting Republican. There is no data that's showing that black people, that any overwhelming majority of black people are saying that we rock with Donald Trump or that we rock with Republicans in any way. If the hood is voting, they voting for Democrats. They voting for Joe Biden. If the hood is voting, they're voting for.
Neither one of us have the data to support our position on the level of specificity we trying to go for and making this argument about the hood. So this is kind of a wash. A little bit.
No, it's not. It's
because I'm not gonna let you flash these numbers up here.
Wait, so you only gonna tell me?
Y'all, I'm trying to tell y'all. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all in Chop Nation, because this man he pushed the little buttons for the graphics and shit. So he go find his little pictures or whatever, and he be like, "Oh, the numbers." First of all, what's the date on this image you showing me right now? Because so many things have moved and shaken in terms of the upcoming election.
It's only gotten worse for Republicans.
I just want to finish. Listen. We would need updated numbers about the pulse of the hood. You know what I'm saying, on both of these candidates to make some things clear. But here's my biggest issue with how the plug was moving. Because he got all his pictures, all his little infographics, his little videos and shit. He is giving context and data and information about a world before we had experienced a Trump presidency, and a world before we experienced a Biden presidency that we could have to compare it to a Trump presidency. None of the conversations he's having, none of the data, none of the information he's using right now is an active comparison, a meaningful comparison about the world now that we've experienced both of their presidencies. I dare to believe, and this is why I'm gonna end this statement while I'm starting. And this is where, I guess we should probably define hood, but I'm gonna end where I started when I said this, because I think both Columbus and tell me, Columbus, what I'm being stubborn about, and then Miss Ma'am and Columbus have both pointed out that we kind of talking about different versions of the hood. I feel like we're talking about the same versions of the hood, so I'm trying to figure out, like, I guess what version of the hood
we operate. Yeah, like, so when we say hood, like literally, we come from the same.
I'm talking about poor,
so we
black people with a high school education or less. who also represent the non-working class. I'm sorry, not the non-working class, the lower class, the working class or lower, and have very few opportunities for upper mobility or even college educations, because we know that people who are at least college educated have a completely different orientation and approach to how they participate in politics and the issues they consider to be important. So when we're talking about the hood, I'm talking about, nigga, everybody with elementary, middle school, high school level educations, everybody working high labor or what they would like to call unskilled labor jobs. I'm talking about people who have GEDs or lesser. I'm talking about people, though, who, and I can't ignore this part of my argument, because I'm like, these people don't vote. They do. Because of, and Donnell acknowledged the truthiness in this before, there's community organizing. There are intentional attempts to go and get these people. There are voting drives. There are people sitting out of gas stations and liquor stores and grocery stores and churches and schools and all types of places. Well, you said what?
And who are they voting for? Like,
bro,
right, so the people that's getting registered,
act like I didn't just say that neither one of us, at the very least, I'm willing to call it a wash, because neither one of us can say that, because we don't have any comparative data about the pulse and the temperature of niggas after experiencing Trump.
Toya.
The best example we have are examples like Sexxy Red, who are speaking out on behalf of these.
No, we don't. That's not Sexxy Red is not the best example. Sexxy Red is not the best example. The best example is 20. The best example is 2020.
These niggas in the comments sad and upset that they can't support her no more because of her affinity, relationship, and proximity to the hood, and how she like literally popularizes that shit, and you know what I'm saying, inflates it and makes it visible. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're trying to say she's not a voice, she's not a representative, how? Like, what are you even saying? She's literally one of the biggest and most fastly growing pop stars that we have, not only in black culture,
in her opinion,
in pop culture,
and her perspective. And her, okay, right. So let's say, I'm willing to say this. I'm willing. No. I'm willing to say this. The people Sexxy Red speak for don't vote. Because show me where they. Because if you're literally saying,
if you're going to lie on this position, answer a question for me. So are you saying that these people are not actively being engaged to vote, and that the Stacey Abramses of the world and a whole lot of other people in this country are not doing the legwork? People are participating in elections now, not antiquated data, not the grand narrative of niggas, but I'm talking about what's literally happening. So that shit's not real, and that just whole sections of our community population just are completely non-participant. And that's what you're willing to die on? That's the line you willing to ride?
No, it's real easy.
You saying this community organizing not happening?
It's real easy. Cause like, listen. I'm going to use the community organizing you talking about. The community organizing you talking about are getting people out to vote. Hold on, no, like, because that's the, I think, because like this is the point. This is what you can't ignore. If what you saying is true, because first off, let's identify the fact that you tried to say that we have no post Biden, post Trump analysis. That's not true. 2022, you got 2 years.
You brought up
2022, you had 2 years of Joe Biden. So if Joe Biden was literally pushing niggas away from the Democratic Party, the Democrats wouldn't be supported at 3%, which is
are they polling the hood, my nigga? But you're using, that's what I'm saying. You are having.
That means the hood is voting. That means that Sexxy Red is not telling the truth.
Is the hood getting polled, my nigga? That's my question. Yeah. We are talking.
Yes, the hood is getting polled.
You are attempting to substantiate. Sir, can I finish my thought? Because you are attempting to substantiate data that literally does not exist. You are trying to, and this is why I'm treading lightly. I'm willing to give some wiggle room to the fact that there is some.
The data is right here in front of you.
I'm willing to give some reality, some airtime to the fact that Joe Biden got some niggas in a chokehold. I'm not saying no niggas are voting for Joe Biden. I've never contended that. My contention is, and this has been my argument throughout if you zoom out, my argument throughout this entire conversation about who's gonna win and gonna lose is that it's enough. It is enough people in enough places with enough interest and enough investment to push the needle. I don't care if it's a 59-41 split.
It's not even close to that.
Bruh.
It's not even close to that.
And I don't think you have information to support that idea. What I'm saying is I feel like there's enough people who are not nearly as, and this, that, and the other. I'm registered to vote. I'm gonna pull up. Like that never happens. I'm just literally making that up because I know niggas like niggas. So I'm sorry.
Let's look at.
You were speaking in absolutes, and I think that's blowing my mind, especially when this is
I'm using
a race that is inches and not miles.
It's like so this is the thing, right? This is the thing. When you try to look past the data and try to say, well, is the data talking about the hood? Well, let's see.
The data's not representative.
How is the data not representative? Because when the data is being taken in, like you can see. First of all, we know that Georgia, for example, turned blue because of the hood, because of Atlanta, not because of no rural region outside, because of Atlanta. The niggas in Atlanta. That's what turned Georgia blue. When you talk about Stacey Abrams community organizing, you are talking about a community organizing that recognizes and sees the dangers and harms of a president like Donald Trump. When you're talking about who Sexxy Red is talking about, even if she's talking about a particular group, that's 5%. That's 8%. That's 6%. That's not even a two-digit percentage point. That
again
matters because it becomes inconsequential. Because it becomes inconsequential. You're not shifting an entire. It ain't no 40. It ain't no 49-51. It's 92-8, 93
it's
to 5.
It's a whole personal argument you're not answering, so it's kind of hard to have a meaningful forth with you.
The only reason you saying I'm not answering,
acknowledging what I said, but go ahead.
I'm acknowledging it head on. But what you're doing is the argument that you're making about trying to separate the data from the hood. That's one of many issues you have in being responsible. But hold on. But again, that's an argument built on saying, because and where it collapses is the idea that those people aren't reflected in the numbers. I'm willing to say that the hood votes. That Stacey Abrams got niggas out in Atlanta, Georgia, to make sure that they got Raphael Warnock elected. I'm willing to recognize that. But where I'm okay, hold on. Let me check some numbers.
You putting everybody on? Well, you checking what numbers? Like, what's happening?
Oh no, I'm checking our streaming numbers because our streaming numbers drop, and so it's starting to lag.
Yeah, I'm seeing that now that I'm watching it too.
Yeah. Hey, so we definitely. All right, yo. So we're gonna have to do a part 2. I'm not necessarily sure what's going on, but we're gonna have to do a part 2. We're gonna continue the conversation. But yeah, it's something.
Yeah, we gonna wrap up who the streets talk about and who they gonna vote for. We're gonna continue to see things unravel week to week, month to month. Like we said at the top of the show, this is one of many political chops that we're gonna have where we really get into the intricacies of what's going leading up to the election. So y'all just make sure y'all keep coming back and staying turned in. These little internet issues, we're gonna deal with them. Just make sure y'all stay tuned for the future conversations we have.
Yeah, we'll be back. We out. Appreciate y'all. Yeah.